Holy Spirit. It's summer in Dallas. It's summer here at Ascension, and summer in Ascension means, in part, that we get to send our requests, our favorite hymns, to Mark, and hopefully they get incorporated into our worship service. And there was one that's been on my mind all week, and I haven't had a chance to send it to him now, so I'll just do that now if that's okay. Actually, I'd like to just sing a bit of it. It's actually not in our hymnal, but I would wager that some of you know it, if not from the Episcopal Church, maybe from another. It goes like this: there is power, power, wonder-working power in the blood of the Lamb. There is power, power, wonder-working power in the precious blood of the Lamb. I got at least one fan out there. All right, Episcopalians don't know this song. It's okay, but it's an old gospel song that I heard remade into. We got one clapping back there, so I'm in. All right, this is good. Now, we're kind of remade in a bluegrassy style, and it really caught my ear. When I get it in my head, it's there for weeks, so it may resurface. I'm not sure, but there's truth in that. And I think part of the truth that we see in that statement, that there's power in the blood of the Lamb, is reborn each Sunday as we gather in a sense of celebration around the Eucharistic feast, around this altar to receive and be nourished by the blood of Christ. And as we gather, something happens. It's in our gathering that we celebrate that which we are endeavoring to do each and every day. Now, there is somewhat of a dichotomy, and there's at some point a diminishing return. The phrase, there's strength in numbers, right? We've experienced this in our lives, and we can even sometimes feel the palpable strength of numbers in a gathering. Maybe you have been at a concert where all voices were lifted up together and all the energy of the entire place seemed to be focused on a particular note or moment. And it's life-giving, right? Now, the diminishing return, or the point at which this isn't always true, is sometimes when we gather large groups of people together, we realize that we are certainly not all of one mind. That there are disagreements. Sometimes it doesn't take a very large group at all to have some dissension in the ranks or feelings about, he should have sung that song in a different key, then I could have sung along. Now, some of this is borne out in particular ways. I think all of this is illustrated in our scriptures today. In Samuel, we read of the tribes of Israel all coming together under David. One of the things that David and his kingship is attributed to is a reunification of the 12 tribes of Israel and the power that is experienced as those tribes band together to form one united kingdom of Israel. They know they are stronger together than they are divided as individuals. Now, since I've been here before you, I've had the chance to go to a couple of different gatherings. Some of you know, but shortly after my last Sunday here, 2 weeks ago, I got on a plane and flew to Hawaii. It was a chance for me to catch up with some friends from when we served in Hawaii, but also got to participate in a wedding. Now, any wedding is a glorious occasion, and always an honor to be asked to come and participate or even just attend, but certainly when you're asked to officiate at a wedding, it feels like a real honor indeed. And I got to officiate at a wedding between a girl who was in our youth group and a boy that she had started dating while she was in our youth group. I at once actually had to return to where we dropped her and other youth group kids off, or a parking lot where we always met with parents and things, had to come back because this young man's car wouldn't start and he needed our jumper cables. A point I may have reminded him of while I was there. But the palpable energy of a gathering for a wedding, to sit and watch as two people declare their love for one another, a commitment to each other that they have made in their hearts and minds before that gathering, They gather to make that profession known to their family and friends. But more than that, they gather to invite and encourage God's blessing and the support of their community in that relationship. Because they know that by inviting the connection to family and friends to support that relationship, that it is made stronger, that it is made whole. Once I returned from Hawaii, I got to go to an even larger gathering. I went down to Austin, where the every 3-year General Convention of the Episcopal Church is underway. It's still happening. It carries on throughout this week. And here we see the power of magnitude as many come together. It's a fascinating time in the Episcopal Church when that body assembles. It's, I believe, the largest democratic meeting in the world. People are sent as deputies to represent every diocese of the Episcopal Church, clergy and lay, and they meet in the House of Deputies while all of the bishops meet in the House of Bishops. It's important to keep bishops in a different room. That was my takeaway. I don't know if that's actually what they're trying to teach us, but it's sometimes helpful just to keep them in a different room. And they consider a lot of different, actually they have over 400 resolutions going before this General Convention, so a lot of work to be accomplished. Part of the energy or the fun or the positive thing that you see happening at General Convention is you can't help but run into people that you know. So I walked through the lobby to get back to a hotel room one night, and I ran across at least 4 people that I knew just walking through the lobby, most of whom I hadn't seen in a number of years, but we immediately recognized each other. And the energy is palpable. It's that good energy that you feel. Or at the opening worship, I think there was 2,500 Episcopalians gathered together to worship. Now we are not all of one mind in all things. But our gospel tells a similar story as Jesus returns to his hometown, and they are astounded at his teaching, impressed with the wisdom, and then it says, because of their unbelief, he was not able to perform signs there. It's as if the Messiah, who is fully divine and fully human, is incapable of performing miracles because of the unbelief of those around him. Even though they'd acknowledge he's very smart, he's very well spoken. I had never thought about that way. They still had such doubt and trepidation about this man because they knew him from a young age. It says he was only able he healed a few sick, minor miracles. They were probably just allergies. Jesus acknowledges the power of a gathering by not being able to perform miracles among those who exhibit unbelief. He sends his disciples out from there in pairs of 2. And I think part of the beauty of this situation, even though those were gathered with him there and they believed in him, he's sending them out in 2 because he knows that if they go someplace, no matter who they are gathered in front of and no matter what they are setting out to accomplish, there will be at least one other person standing by their side with steadfast belief that Jesus' power rests in them and whatever they are trying to do stands a pretty good chance of being accomplished. And I think great wisdom sits in this equation of always going with a partner, a cohort, a friend, fellow follower of Christ. As we go out into the world, we need that encouragement. We need somebody standing beside us that believes in the power of Christ. that believes that the love of God will wash over whatever troubles or adversities that we might encounter. I think Paul says it well also in this letter in 2 Corinthians. He's hearing of somebody else who's competing for authority with the church in Corinth, and he's trying to work to try to understand what is happening, and he's explaining where he believes his power or authority comes from. And he says it's not like something that I have built up within myself. It's in emptying myself that I make room for Christ to work through me. It's in removing the ego. It's with removing our own desires and leaving room for Christ's love to flow through us that the greatest power is realized. There's power, wonder-working power. In that blood of the Lamb, there's power in that. And sometimes we get confused about what power looks like. We get attracted to the power of this world and the things that we attribute to having power in this world. A bigger engine in the car, or a more powerful this or that, or the authority of kingdoms, or of bosses and this and that. But the real power comes in emptying ourselves to make room for the risen Christ to flow through us. Jesus tries to make this clear as he partners people up in order to send them out. He says, stay in the first house you get to. It doesn't really matter where you stay. Take no bread, no belt, no money. Because it's not what bread you eat that makes a difference. It's not whether you have a belt or what clothes you wear that will give you authority and power to share Christ's love in this world. No amount of money is going to change your capacity to reflect Christ's love back to this world. It's when we empty ourselves to remove those desires that we might have, to remove our own ego, emptying ourselves to make way for Christ, that we realize the power of the blood of the Lamb. And it's in our gathering that we are supposed to gather not as the pinnacle of our Christian existence, but only as a celebration, a moment of encouragement in our journey as we walk through this life trying to reflect Christ's love to everybody that we meet along the way. We gather on Sunday to remember the power of the blood of the Lamb. We gather to be encouraged and take heart from one another. We gather for the energy that's sometimes palpable as we all sing the same song of praise and adoration. We gather around this altar to be nourished by the power of the blood of the Lamb.